papers. When you go home, copy those patterns. There's a more advanced pattern, and then there's a real simple pattern that I gave you. So when you go home, first thing you do is make a copy, okay? The next thing, ladies who are sewing, you want to set the stitch length on your sewing machine down to 1.6, 1.5, something around in that range. That'll help the paper tear out easier, and it also keeps you from tearing the stitches out later when you're pulling on these things, okay? So that's the first two things you need to know. Well, let's start with this one. The next, more complicated one. You're going to start with 1, because 1's what I like to start with, and it's one you always have to start with, okay? And remember to go in sequence with a paper piecing pattern. Now, this goes toward me. The lines go toward me. The blank side goes away from you. Always remember that. On this, I even wrote this side up. So you'll remember this side up towards you, okay?
Patsy.
These are your...
Remember to show it under the camera.
Okay, these are the sewing lines here, okay? These are your sewing lines. So we're going to start with 1. Now this is a small one, easy to deal with. So what we're going to do is take this piece of material. I like to use this Elmer's glue. I'll make a swipe on it. And I'm going to stick it on there. Now, you can take it up and look at it and see that it fits. It covers the whole space. If you want to, in order to find out how big this is, just measure it. Measure the widest point at the bottom and the widest point this way. And then you know how big to make that square. Give it about 1/4 of an inch around, and you know what that square is. You don't have to guess about it. You know exactly how big to make the square. Okay? Okay. The next thing you want to do is you're going to go between 1 and 2. You're going to work on the sewing line between 1 and 2. So I want you to take that line and bend it back. I want you to bend it a couple of times. Now I want you to take a ruler. Not really. You take the ruler and you put it on 1/4 of an inch from that line where that material's sticking out, and I want you to cut it off. You got an exact 1/4 of an inch now from that line. Oh, down here. You got 1/4 of an inch from the line. Now take you a piece of material. What are your strips? These are just strips, so it doesn't make a difference. This I had from another project, and you stick it on there. Right sides together. In paper piecing, the first piece you put on is always right side up. The rest of the time you'll be putting them right sides together. So it will be down. So you put it here. Now, if you feel uncomfortable about it, just put a pin in it. We're working on the line between 1 and 2.
Where we cut off.
They gotta get that one clear first.
Now put your strip on there, just like this one. I put a strip right on top. This was 1. I'm doing right sides together, right on where we cut that off.
How do you tell how much to leave on each end?
Well, you're just wanting to cover,
Number 2.
you want to cover number 2. So see how long number 2 is.
Put your pin on the other side. On your and then flip it over just so they can see.
She wants you to pin the seam allowance.
See that it's gonna
Oh,
be big enough. I think they'll get it then.
okay. Pin, here's the line that you're sewing on.
Okay.
This is the length that you need. Now if you flip it over, you can see where you're going to be sewing.
Now flip it over again.
Now flip the fabric
Flip the
back.
fabric. No, flip the fabric and then let them. Okay, now hold it up to the light and they can see it.
Oh, you can see, yeah, it'll cover. It'll cover. Plenty of line for that to cover. Just hold it up and you can see it's covering. But you don't have to question it, it's there. Well, that went right all over the place. Now this one, I'm going to show you, I sewed it really, really crooked when I sewed it. I didn't stay on the line. And it's still going to be fine because this is a tree. Now, there are some times where you have to stay on that line or you're going to be in trouble, okay? I mean, you try to stay on the line, but I just wanted to show you with this, it's not a big deal, okay?
This is the first time I've ever actually sewn on the line.
Well, there you go. Now just
I
turn
wasn't
it.
even looking. But that's okay.
2 and 4.
We're between 1 and 3 on this one. Bend it back. You already did this part, Darlene.
Pardon me?
You did this part.
Okay.
Cut it off at 1/4 of an inch. That always tells us where we're going to put that material. So we know, we're not guessing where the material goes. We know exactly where the material goes. Yep, right sides together, and you're ready to sew.
See where you're sewing. Does anybody know anything about this?
No. Okay, now we got 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, you should have 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3.
Look at that! Woo!
Wow.
Whoa!
Sure. You all tell tales.
Okay,
Was it they just did 2 and
we're doing 2 and 4. Yep, not everybody.
Yeah, it'll be 3 and 4.
Yeah.
That's the part you got to keep in your head because it's 3 and 5 is not 2 and 4.
But you just got to remember the next number. 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is kind of like a Rubik's class. Up, down, up, down. That's why I can't do it. Too much like aerobics.
Everybody, can they see what I'm doing? I cut it off and now I've laid that piece right on top of there, right sides together. I'll take it to the machine and I'm going to sew that line.
I use scissors, I don't use the roller cutter.
See, every piece that we put,
I like that green with the flowers.
every piece that we put on, we knew exactly where it was going to go. It wasn't a question.
It's because of the fold,
Yeah, it wasn't a question. We didn't have to guess. There's no guessing. I know everybody says, oh my gosh, I can't figure out where it goes. Well, you make that fold on a 1/4 inch line, you'll know every time.
So I guess I'll have to go home and try this. Yeah, you should.
It's not hard.
Just make a few copies.
That's the part when you do.
These angles are what everybody says, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? It's so hard. No, it's not. You're going to do your fold.
Just make them That's easy for you.
No, you're going to do your fold, okay? Then you're going to make your 1/4 of an inch. Especially on an angle, these are going to be really important so you know where everything goes. Then, how you know is you measure the longest point. Let's do it on this side so you'll know. From here to here is your longest point. So add a 1/4 of an inch to either side. Then from here to here is your longest line. So you add a 1/4 of an inch to either side. You end up with this measurement, you end up with this piece of material. So you take it, and you lay it down, and you sew it. Make sure it covers here and here. Keep forgetting about that. Make sure it covers here and here. Now you're ready to sew.
For my corner.
Well, you can always trim it.
That should have been background.
Okay.
No, that's background.
And
Lighter.
if you see, there's that angle. That's all you had to do was measure those points, and you get that angle every time, whatever angle it is. The widest, measure from the widest, measure the longest. Of course, you continue on.
You can move on. We've got 2 of these and 2 of these. Oh, yeah. I thought she was going to throw the whole thing over. That works too.
Okay, guys, when you get down here, just you guys that are set, and we'll go back over it with our sewers. You just pull that loose. We're doing the line right here. We're going to pull that loose, and we're going to cut that off at 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Now, this, when you see a hash mark on your pattern like this, that means you're going to sew pieces together and then put it on your pattern. It's not hard. No, very easy, very easy. Yeah, you're just going to piece these together. So, you take them and you sew, well, that one's got the thing on it.
Get them online now. When I used to do them,
You do 1/4 of an inch. This one I'm going to kind of eyeball on this trunk, just to see how big it is. So actually I picked up the wrong trunk here, 1 1/4 inches. So make this the size of the trunk down there.
Adding your extra 1/4 inch.
Yeah. This would be where you'd have a 1/4 of an inch foot on here, but I don't, so I'm just going to fake it.
hey, trees aren't straight.
No.
They got crooked trunks.
Yeah.
So if you make a boo-boo, hey, that's fine.
This is what you end up with. Hit it with the yarn so it'll lay down and behave itself. And you want to lay this right here. Since it's a tree, you don't have to be all that concerned about getting it perfectly in the middle.
Now, before you sew it, would you show over the Patsy, you can show the camera exactly what you're sewing before you do it.
Oh, okay. We're going to sew this line right here. Okay? I'll be going over it again with the sewers. I'll probably give them time to catch up. Really easy, darling. Easy peasy. So that's what you end up with. You got everything right. Now we need to square it up. Just put that 6 1/2 inch ruler on this, and you're going to end up with a perfect 6 1/2 inch block.
Baby.
This is kind of hard not to. Okay, that's what you have when you're done.
Lovely.
Now you gotta remove the paper.
Well, I don't. I mean, I'll take out the center sometimes if I was making a whole quilt of these trees, or even if I was putting 4 of them together. I might take the center out, but I'm gonna leave its edges because when I put them together and sew them together, it gives me nice weight and they don't move, they don't shift. And what paper piecing is the best for, I think, is when you're working with raw edge. If you're working with anything with points and raw edge, it's not going to creep on you because it's sewed to that paper.
And biases.
Right. Oh, that's what I meant to say, biases. When you're working with bias edge, you definitely, paper piecing will really keep those points sharp, and you won't have it creeping around and doing things it's not supposed to do
So when do you take the paper out then?
when it's done. If I'm doing 4 of these, then I would just,
After all together.
after all 4 are sewed together, then I would take the paper out, and I'm ready to go.
And sometimes spraying with water will help you take the paper off.
Yeah.
I got little pins that you take, you put water in it and you go right down the seam, and it makes, that way you don't have a lot of water on your rest of your pattern.
That'll work.
And it loosens that up, and it just peels right off.
Let's go see how students are doing, then we'll talk about enlarging these. Most patterns that you're going to get out of a book come about 4 inches. So what you want to do is, first thing, cut the seam allowance off. Because that seam allowance, if you're going to enlarge it or decrease it, is not going to be right once you do that. So cut that off first, which is what I did with this. Then you end up with this. This was 4, this is 6.5. How I know what to make is from this little thing here. It's called a proportional scale. And you have to have a really good twang to say that. Anyway.
It's called what?
A proportional scale. If you want, this is a 4, and I wanted a 6. So this inner circle here, I take the 4, down here. I take the 4 and put it on 6. Just like that. Now the 4 matches the 6. Then you just go right here to this little inner place here, and it says 150. So you go to your printer, and you set your printer to 150%. Most printers have it on there, and you can just set it to 150%. You can increase or decrease with this. So these aren't expensive, and I bought one when I started paper piecing. I used it all the time. I started out guessing, and that wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't fun. Oh.
So if you have a 4 and you wanted a 6, you set the outside.
The inside is the one you have.
Okay.
The inside is this 4, and I want this 6. So I take the 4, the number 4, and I put it on the number 6 out here. I make the inside circle line up with the outside, and then you look in here, and that'll give you the percentage for your copier.
Isn't that a little clever thing?
Yeah,
Like
it
an
really.
office supply store or something? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen them. I think I've seen them in sewing places, but they want more for them.
So it's called proportional scale.
A proportional scale. Okay. You take the inside circle is the size that you presently have, and the outside. Oh, we're out of here. The inside circle is what we have. The outside circle is what we want. So you find this is a 4-inch. We want a 6-inch. So you put the 4 with the 6. Then you read in this opening here what percentage to set the printer to.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.